You're listening to KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine.
The opinions and views expressed in this program do not reflect those of KUCI, its management, or the UC Board of Regents. To find out more about this talk show or other talk shows broadcasting on KUCI, log on to our website at kuci.org or check out the latest program guide.
This is Ashton Marcus, and I'm on location at the Antaeus Theater Company for their presentation of Native Son. Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with...
Hi, Nambi E. Kelly. I am the adapter of Native Son.
So, question, why did you decide to write this piece?
It was a commission. It decided to write me.
But, I mean, how did it move you? I mean, what inspired you? I mean, what does it have a purpose?
The purpose is for you to take the journey inside the mind of a young black man and see the things that created the world that he lives in and the world that we live in today.
So if my viewers decide to come by and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
A mind map.
I thought it was an intense ride. It was very emotional, action-packed, and also it took a different look. It was like, you know, how someone will see the black experience through a victim. It almost expressed that to be free, you have to do something. You have to do something to be free. You can't be a good, you can't be president of the United States. You can't be an astronaut. You can't be like a chief executive. You can't be a boss of a company. What can you be? It's almost like you have to be a criminal. It's the only thing you can to be free. Is that right? Is that the only thing a black person can do? To experience dominance, to experience freedom?
I think that's part of the point of the novel, and I think that part of the point of the play is that, there is no agency, and particularly in 1939, and that he really didn't have any choices. So it was an accident, and it spiraled from there.
Interesting, because I understand it was an accident and all that. I understand he was guilty and all that, but it just showed a different way. I imagine if a white person were doing this, he wouldn't be experiencing the same thing. He might be experiencing some things, but you wouldn't see flashbacks of such trauma that kind of created this man into being what he was.
I don't know. I'm not white. I have no opinion on that.
Well, I love the piece. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was extremely dramatic also. Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with...
Andy Chapman, the director of Native Son at Antaeus.
So, question, why did you decide to do this piece?
Because I thought that the play had a marvelous voice. It had a lot to say, and I was intrigued. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was fantastic, intense, a roller coaster, but I must admit, I didn't think it was very flattering for the African American experience.
It is. It is. What it is showing, is giving light to what the African American experience is in America, and we went inside this man's mind, this young black man's mind, to see why he is the way he is, or is thinking the way he is, because of the way in which he's oppressed in America. So it puts him in the light that is situated to be put in that sense.
I love that. I thought it was fantastic. Thank you very much for being on the show. Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
John Chafin. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia, actor. I'm privileged and pleased to be a part of this production, this amazing piece that Nambi E. Kelly wrote, this amazing direction by Andy Chapman, and this amazing cast. And I'm just really pleased to be a part of this, and thankful to everybody that came out and that is going to come out and enjoy this train ride with us.
And which character did you play?
I play Bigger Thomas. Bigger is a lot like me. He's somebody who life threw things at him, and so he's dealing with the circumstances that are beyond his reach. He was born into this, and so what we did is try to get inside the heart of Bigger to understand why he did the things that he's did. So all the things that transpire, all these events, we show that it was not because he wanted to, but because it was kind of brought upon him, and it's how he's trying to deal with it. So we try to like I say, show his heart so that you can empathize with him and see that there's a Bigger Thomas in all of us. And there are many different type of Bigger Thomases. It's not just this particular, but there's white, black, Asian, Latino. There's Bigger Thomases everywhere. So we're just glad and privileged to be able to tell this particular story, and hope that people will come out and empathize and be able to see a little bit of themselves in it.
Well, I definitely thought it was intense. It was a roller coaster ride, but it also showed a different side of the African American experience that people just don't show. It's like when you see in the news and there's a large crime rate. Well, I've always wondered, why is that? Is it just because of, say, poverty or ignorance, or could it possibly be other things like maybe abuse, maybe like this? They don't, this is just society that has. Society's just hammered them so much that what else is there to do?
Yeah, I mean, when you're born into these particular circumstances and you're given half of the freedom that other people are offered, then these are the circumstances that you have to deal with, and this is what happens as a result of that. So I think that it is a systemic situation, and it's very tragic that it happens not just to bigger, but all across the United States and to a lot of different African Americans across the United States. So what we're trying to do is to show that even though these circumstances are put upon him, it's not by choice. And so he's trying to figure out how to navigate through that, given the cards that he's been dealt.
Well, I loved your performance. I thought you were fantastic. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Noel Arthur. Hey everybody, I am playing Black Rat in Native Son, and it's been a wild ride. It continues to be a wild ride because it is so visceral and definitely poignant and timely with everything going on in our country right now. So please come out and see it.
And which character did you play again?
The Black Rat. He is a postmodernist take on a 30s novel. Definitely something that colloquializes the story, and something I feel that a modern audience can access, a work that I think was a little bit outdated in certain ways, but now definitely is bringing to the forefront still relevant issues about race in America.
And your character, what's the take on your character? Who was he?
He's just the double consciousness, the manifestation of, as W.B. Du Bois says, the double consciousness of black men or black people in America, where you see yourself as one way, but you also have a filter of seeing yourself how the overarching white society perceives you to be, which is usually very negative.
I love this piece, but I've never seen a piece like this before. It was almost like it was a story about a victim. And again, instead of being about black pride, it's actually about black experience, about black abuse.
Yes, but hopefully by the end, the message is that through black love, you can counter the black abuse, that we have in ourselves the power to not just be a whole black person, but a whole human being. So yeah.
It was very intense. I loved it. It was just fascinating. It was visceral. It brought me to areas I've never been before in my entire life, and I loved it.
That's great, man. That's great. Thank you so very much for coming, and hopefully your audience comes out as well. We'll be running until June 3rd, and it's antaeus.org for tickets.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
Peace.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. I'm here with...
I'm Victoria Platt. How are you? I've been acting for 30-something years. Television, stage, film. I sing, I dance. I've done Broadway. A lot of stuff.
And which character did you play tonight?
I play Hannah, Beggar's mom. Hannah has been beaten up in life. I think she started off with a lot of hope and dreams, and then her husband was killed because of racism, and it's not something anyone is accustomed to. You get used to it, you become desensitized to it, and you learn to operate within it, but she's been beaten down by the world, and she just wants her sons and her family to be alive and safe.
My experience, obviously I'm not African American, so I just don't see... I can't identify with the character. Well, I can identify a little bit, but you're also not an African American male. I mean, what's your take on this? What's your take on this play? Is it unflattering? Is it unfair? Is it just? What's your thoughts?
Well, I think a couple things. First, I absolutely have no understanding of what it is to be a black man. Of course, do I hear it a lot because I am a black woman and I'm in the community and I have brothers and my husband's black, and so I hear about it and I can sympathize with it because it's a part of our history. It's also caused a lot of rift within our culture in terms of the relationship between men and women in the black community. So I understand it in terms of that. Do I think that it's unfair to him? I think what it does is it shows how oppression and racism and how holding people down can crush their spirit. So they act like animals, and then we get upset because they act like animals. But we can't expect anything else. If you strip somebody of their humanity, they're not going to be human anymore. So I think he got to the point where he was stripped of his humanity. He didn't feel like a human anymore. He had no autonomy, and so he behaved outside of autonomy.
I got that from the very last scenes of the play, where it's almost like he was saying he felt free finally, and it's like, it was like, what can you be? You can't be an executive of a company. You can't be president of the United States. You can't be an astronaut. You can't be a teacher. You can't even live on the white side of the city. What else can you do but be a criminal? And now suddenly you feel powerful.
Right, because that's where they give you space. But then the other side of that is that once you realize it doesn't matter that you can't be any of those things, right? Which is what he realized, is I actually can find myself above all of it. And I realized that I'm above all of it. It took him killing somebody to get there, and that's unfortunate. It shouldn't be so. But he found his freedom, and I think that's the most important thing. Whatever happened after that, he understood himself as a man.
Yeah. Okay, one last question. About African-American women. There were African-American women here. It did describe a bit of an experience. It was a bit abusive. What are your thoughts on that? What did this piece say to the African-American women?
Well, I think that's another wound of our community, that we've been pitted against each other, black men and black women. We were taken from each other, so we have no trust in each other. We didn't grow up being able to, and I mean grow up in terms of historically being able to rely on each other. The men were pulled away from the families. The women were the ones that took care of everything. So now if you look within the community and see that kind of the bitterness that black men have with black women, and how black women sometimes make comments about not trusting black men, that's where it comes from. That is a genetic kind of memory that we are really working hard to get over. I think this play really shows what that is this understanding that we've done things to survive, but it's sort of like being a kid. When we're kids, we do things to survive, and then we get older and we're still operating out of that understanding, but we're not there anymore. At a certain point, we have to recognize, I'm not there anymore, so I don't need to operate out of that understanding. The violence against any woman in this, the violence at all bothers me. Particularly, I don't want to give anything away, but what he does to the black woman in this really hurts my heart. But it is an issue of power and not an issue of what he did. It wasn't the violence, it was the power. And if we don't see it as that, then we're missing the point.
Well, I love the piece. I thought it was intense. I thought it was shocking, and I thought you were fantastic.
Thank you so very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI, 88.9 FM in Irvine. And I'm here with...
my name is Ned Moschel, and I play Mr. Britain in Native Son. I'm an actor. I've been an actor all my life, LA for about 10 years, and I did Hella Gabler with Antius, and now this is my second show with them. And this was just an amazing, incredible experience. I had to play a hate-filled racist, which for me was very new and different. And it turned into an incredible experience just to be a key part of this amazing ensemble. So in that sense, I really had fun doing it. It was a blast.
This actually was different from any other type of African-American play I've seen. Usually there's some kind of nobility, some kind of pride to the black experience. It shows abuse and all that. This one was actually more of a victim. It was more, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, Native Son is considered one of the first American novels that really truly dealt with the effects of racism and oppression on the African-American man. And it was very hard to take when it was first written. It's still very hard to take. The idea that a man's environment creates at least a large part of that man, and that the environment, the oppression, the evil, the anger, the hatred, the racism adds to the construction of what the man becomes is a very difficult message, I think, for audiences to hear. But I think it's a very important message, especially in this country, especially with the political environment now. So, my strong feelings about it are it's a difficult play to watch. It's a difficult play to experience, but it's incredibly important to watch what happens when an impressive, racist, hate-filled environment infests and builds another human being into what becomes a monster. Yeah.
I agree, because I feel that African Americans would understand this, but actually, as a non-African American, I feel I experienced it. I feel like, I felt like I was being turned into an animal.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, when you bite someone, is it really your fault that an animal bites you and that's what you've become?
None of us want to contemplate that. None of us want to imagine if we had an oppressive, hate-filled environment growing up, what we would become. We all like to think that we're responsible for our own actions, we're responsible for what's in our own hearts, and we bristle at the idea that outside influences can make us into something that we're not proud of, something dark and something angry and something violent. And that's part of the message of the play. And historically, I think that bears out in humanity. It's just the fact of the matter. If you have a police officer beat an 8-year-old black boy with a baton until his face is broken, how will he act when he is 17 and he meets another police officer? And that is a realistic, honest question that we need to start asking in this society.
The ending was a bit tragic, but actually when I look at it, it was the ending. That's the ending it's supposed to happen. That's very sad that when it's a tragedy, that's the way it's supposed to happen. There's no other possible way that this would resolve itself. Do you know what I mean?
That's right. The lead actor in our play, who plays this oppressed black man, who ends up doing violent acts, he's emotionally tortured by what he's done. And by the end, he realizes that his environment, his oppression, the hatred directed at him has made him who he is. And once he embraces that idea, he becomes free. And that's a difficult message to hear.
Well, I love the play. I thought it was fantastic. I love you. You were the perfect villain, perfect anti-hero.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm Aaron.
Hey, I'm Matthew Grondin. I'm in the production of Native Son at Antias Theater Company. I just want to say it's an honor to get to tell this story, and I feel privileged to share this story, and I hope people come and see it and connect with it, and I hope people leave changed in some way.
And which character do you play?
I play several, but the main character I play is Jan, who takes place in 1939, so I play a member of the Communist Party who is trying to help bring more justice for different people, including minorities.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you very much for being on the show. Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. And I'm here with?
Hi, I'm Mildred Marie Langford, and I play Bessie and Vera in the show. Well, I am sort of new to California. I've been here about 2 years from Chicago, and this is my first LA production, so I'm really excited about that. And it's been a great experience, this whole ride from rehearsal to now, and I can't wait to see where the show goes from here.
Yeah, great. And which character do you play again?
I played Bessie and Vera. I enjoy, they're very different. Vera is a bigger sister, his younger sister, so I think there's a little more, I don't want to say like gravitas, but she's a bit more sassy and attitudey. And there's Bessie, who's older, bigger's girlfriend, and she's a bit more weathered. She's dealing with alcoholism, and I think she's just dealt with a lot more in life, and so she's just really looking for something to help ground center in a world that I think doesn't really allow for her to do much. And so anywhere that she can kind of grab onto something and hold it and have it as her own, she really works to do that. So yeah, that's kind of who Bessie is.
Well, I love your performance. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much, and thanks for coming.
Native Son will be playing at the Antaeus Theater Company from April 12th to June 3rd. For more information, go to www.antaeus.org.